for another guitar video today about one of my guitars. I think I said this weekend I was going to continue the series I've been doing where I talk you through the specs on some of my gear, my guitars. You guys had asked for that in the comments of earlier videos. So we're back today. We're going to talk about my Gibson ES-335. It is my newest guitar. I haven't had it very long at all. It's a cool guitar. Got some fun stuff going on with it. It's also a pretty cool story about how I came to acquire it, I think. So hopefully you'll enjoy it. Check out the top. Check that out. So if you can see, that is blistered maple. Now normally I am not a fan. If I was just going to pick out an ES-335 and money was not an issue, I would probably pick a red one or a sunburst one. But this one is absolutely gorgeous. And I didn't go pick it out. In the back is pretty gorgeous too. I didn't go pick it out. This one kind of found me, which I think that's fun when a guitar kind of finds you. So the way that this guitar, came to be in my possession is, I've always, we should start, I guess, with, I've always had a bit of a love-hate relationship with Gibsons. Like when I started playing, first guitar I ever had was a Squier Strat. And I thought that all I wanted in the world was a Les Paul. But I grew up in a small town, small county. There weren't a ton around, Everybody had either Made Mexico Fenders or Squiers and like PV amps, you know what I mean? Like it was later that I got into realizing, back then I guess I thought a Les Paul or like a, Made in America Fender was like the top. I had no idea about custom shop and all that stuff. I wasn't even in that world yet. It wasn't even a thought in my mind. So grew up playing Squier Fenders and, Made Mexico Fenders, and then finally got my hands on a Les Paul around 19 or 20, and I didn't like it because I wasn't used to the neck. I didn't realize the scale length was different. Total just. I mean, I didn't play and I was an okay player, I guess. Probably not, honestly, but you don't realize how much you grow to like what you are used to. And I didn't even realize that. I just thought, wow, I do not like the way this feels. But, you live, you learn about things. And after playing a while and getting into some of the bigger necks with the Fender stuff, I realized I did like the Gibson stuff. I just had to get used to it. But it is a totally different world. And I've owned lots of Les Pauls and always sort of like loved them. And then was like, and then found myself trying to EQ it to sound like my Telecaster or a Strat, and would always end up selling them and just going back to Fender stuff. But I've always wanted a 335. I have always loved hollow body guitars. I love Gretsch's, but I just have never found a great 335 that I could afford at the time, that I found one that I loved. And I haven't played it. I just haven't had a chance to play a ton. So fast forward to now. I have a Strat I love, have a Tele I love, both custom shops. And, I was actually looking at a Gretsch Black Falcon Players Edition, which is still on my list. So one of those pops up sometime this year. Do not be surprised. But I'm looking at that stuff. I'm sort of looking at Gibsons. I have Gibson stuff in my mind. I was kind of playing some Les Pauls. Keeping my eye on stuff coming through the shop, and just sort of waiting on the right thing. And like I said, I was going back and forth on the Gretsch, really just sort of thinking about the Gretsch and saving up a little bit and deciding if I should sell anything or not. And then, this has been more than a few months ago now. I get a call one day randomly from a guy who I had played with on and off for a long time, a really dear friend of mine named Robby Cummings. And he says that Robby happens to be friends with, acquaintances with Ricky Skaggs. And if you don't know, Ricky Skaggs is really involved in a lot of, sort of church groups, and does a lot of like gospel stuff. That's pretty near and dear to his heart, which I think is cool. And he was doing a thing. He was involved with a pastor in Nashville where they were going to do like this gospel event at the Ryman Auditorium. Ryman Auditorium, pretty fantastic place. You know, it is the mother church of country music. It has a really cool history. It's a bucket list place to play for any musician, I think. It's the best sound of any place I've ever heard hearing a show. So I always wanted to play there. Regretted, you know, leaving Nashville without playing there, honestly. And Robby calls him and says, hey, Ricky has us a spot in this gospel thing. If we want to play, you know, have you ever played the Ryman? Would you like to come play? And I said, yes, I will come play guitar at the Ryman. Absolutely. So I'm really pumped about that. I love playing with Robby. Robby's a fantastic songwriter. You can check out that whole thing. If you go check him out, you can hear our whole set from the Ryman on his YouTube channel. It's Robby Cummings, ROBBYCUMMINGS. I suppose I could probably find the link and stick it in the description of this video. So I'll do that. If you really want to check it out, go find it there. Anyways, a dear friend of the shop. I won't name names, but the guy who's a really good friend of all of us who work at casino. You know, he hears that I'm going to get to play at the Ryman, and he says, hey man, he's got a lot of cool guitars, and he says, hey, if I got anything that you want to take to play at the Ryman, just let me know, you can take it. That's a really kind offer, because if you're a guitar player, your guitars, they're, you know, I know for me, they're my babies. I don't offer that to anybody I don't really trust and really, you know, like and respect, you know, because guitars are, to me at least, they're very personal, and I think to this guy they are too, but he offered that genuinely, and at first I started to decline. I was like, man, that's super kind and really nice. And then he texted me again later with a picture of a bunch of his guitars. He's like, really, man, if there's anything you want to take, let me know, and you can take it. And I think he thought it was cool as well to have one of his guitars, you know, maybe go and be played on stage at the Ryman, because that is cool. So I knew he had this guitar, and I said, man, if you really don't mind, I would love to take your 335. And he said, absolutely. In fact, I was playing a gig that night. It was right when sort of socially distanced gigs were starting to come back, and it was a rare full band gig. I was just playing guitar for somebody literally at a swimming pool at a golf course. And he drove to that gig and just literally came and set it down in front of the little spot we were playing at this pool, which I think is kind of funny. Left it for me so that I'd have it in time to get used to it before playing at the Ryman. So anyways, he leaves it for me. I play it. I take it to the Ryman, play it on a song. Fantastic. I love it. I'm like, man, this is amazing. And I was even joking the whole time. Wow, I would really like to actually not be just borrowing this guitar, own this guitar. But thought my friend, well, he did love it. And I just thought, you know, he's not parting with this thing. So come back home to North Carolina, give it back to him, go about business as usual. A few weeks later, he texts me and he says, Jonathan, you know, you play this guitar at the Ryman. He's like, I love it. It's great. It's like, but I don't think I've bonded with it as much as you have. You played it at the Ryman. I think I'm going to sell it. I'm going to thin the herd a little bit, giving you first dibs. And I said, oh, you know, I would love to have this guitar, but I'm not sure that I can afford it at the moment. And then, after sending that text, I was like, just out of curiosity, what would you be selling it for? And he made me a ridiculous deal on it that made it so that I could buy this guitar from him. So we worked that out, and I am now the proud owner of my first ever ES-335. Now, here's some cool things about this guitar. This was a 2013. It's pretty much stock pickups. They did that run. Gibson apparently had been saving the tops, like blistered maple, to make these guitars, because apparently in sort of 58, 59, there was a run of these that just it wasn't like it was a special thing back then. They just happened to have blistered maple on a certain, you know, run of serial numbers or something from what I understand. There's a video actually about it from NAMM from that year, where I think this particular guitar is the one that the guy's holding from Gibson talking about, which is kind of cool. So I remember when my friend bought this guitar. He bought it by the shop, played it, and I thought, wow, that's fantastic. But the neck was ginormous, and I like big necks, but man, it was a chunky neck. He sent it to someone who is like, world renowned for shaping necks, who reshaped this neck. And sometimes when I hear stuff like that, I immediately am like, maybe not the best idea. But when he brought this back after it had been reshaped, I mean, it was great before, but now it is fantastic. And you cannot tell. I mean, like, I wish I knew the guy's name. I should have messaged and asked the guy's name, because he did a fantastic job, and it feels like, best I can tell, my limited experience, what a 59 should feel like. Like, it's chunky, but not too chunky. It's sort of just right. So that's the story of how this came to be, of how I came to acquire such a cool 335. So now I'll tell you a little bit about it, maybe play a little bit. It's the best Gibson I've ever owned. I didn't realize sort of how much less woofy than all the Les Pauls I've owned that this thing would be or is. I mean, like, it just, man, I just really dig it. It seems to get along with my settings and the other gear I have, that is kind of geared towards my Strats and Tellies, way better than any Les Paul I've ever owned. And for a while I was kind of thinking an SG for that reason. But this thing, like, it can do, the clean, jazzy stuff. It can do, fat chords, almost acoustic-y. It can do overdrive. It just sounds great with fuzz. It can be aggressive. It pretty much can do anything. So I'm not going to say that it is necessarily more versatile than my Telly, because that hurts my heart a little bit to say that. But, man, it's right up there. So, if you've never played a really good 335 or semi-hollow style guitar, check some out. I mean, I and it could still just be that honeymoon phase, but man, I dig it, and I cannot wait till things get back to semi-normal to get out and gig some with it more. I guess the only live thing I've played it at is the Ryman, and I didn't technically own it then. So let's talk about it. I'm running through my little Super Comet. That is it. Straight. Well, I'm through my pedal board at the moment, but nothing's on. I'm plugged into the Captor X, so into the pedal board, into the Comet. Comet's running into the Captor X, and what you're hearing is mostly studio monitors. So you're just hearing that coming out of the studio monitors and a little bit out of the actual amp. I had the attenuator on to the middle position on the Captor X. So that's sort of the cleanest setting, and I think I have it on a cab model that must have like a bit of reverb. Sorry about that, but that's the neck pickup, fairly clean. Here's the middle. Bridge. Here's the neck with just a little bit of overdrive, the Tontugo FX Songbird. Here's the middle, same. Neck. Here's a little heavier overdrive. Here's the Petty John Gold. That's With fuzz. Here's the middle with fuzz. Neck with fuzz. So, I think it sounds pretty fantastic. Probably going out of tune because I literally put strings on right before this video. Maybe not the best idea, but hey, but it desperately needed them. Yep. A good old Gibson G string was pretty out. I have to say though, this one stays in tune pretty darn good. Not quite as good as my Fenders as far as just, you know, when I pick it up it's always in tune, but it's pretty good. I have to say I cannot complain at all. I mean, you know, if you roll that tone off. Great guitar, and it's gorgeous, and it feels good, and it's just fun to play. So, wish I had bought a 335 a lot sooner. It's just super cool. So, if you got any questions, let me know in the comments. Like I said, it's a 2013. I don't even know if I said it is a 59 reissue. So 2013 59 reissue with a blistered maple top, natural, obviously. And the only thing that's really been changed is that neck was shaped, which is pretty cool. So thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you so much to all the new subscribers. I think I picked up quite a few hanging out in the Metalhead Hippie show the other night. And Andy Dion was so kind to asking people to check out my page, as were a lot of you other folks. I'm so sorry I can't quite remember everyone, but even people I didn't know and weren't on the channel were just super kind, and I definitely picked up some subscribers, and I really appreciate that. That wasn't my intention for hanging out at all, but it was an awesome added bonus. So hopefully you're enjoying it. If you haven't already, hit like, hit subscribe, click the bell so you don't miss videos in the future. Lots of new things coming on. I am actually working to update my little studio in here so that I get better video quality and audio. I'm actually Derek from Casino, who does all of our videos over there. He's going to help me set some things up, and potential new camera stuff on the way pretty soon. So be on the lookout for that. Thanks again. Have a great week. I'll see you next time. Thank you.